Well, I'm back from my week vacation, basically celebrating the Father's Day. And of course, to start it off with, happy belated Father's Days out there. Now, if you remember my early stages of starting to review things, yeah, sometimes I'm choppy. But this is one of the few guns I started to review was the John Wick Pit Viper Taran Tactical's Innovations by Jag Precision. Again, a very good looking gun for a very good looking movie to watch. Surprisingly, it's been a year since that movie came out, and well, a lot of innovations that we've seen out there for SHOT Show 2024 came to mind, such as that very secretive project that we know about by MTW, but it's HPA. So, what if we wanted an AEG and for a really good price? I'm not talking about this pistol as I did the review, as we're going to be talking about something quite different for this episode. Let's talk about this big boy here, as today we're going to be talking about is the double barrel Dracarys Taran Tactical Innovations. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode on Airsoft Master. And today we're going to be talking about is this big boy by the Taran Tactical Innovation / Genesis Arms Gen 12 Dracarys Rifle or shotgun. But we'll talk about that more later on. Basically, this is a collaboration featuring with 6mm Proshop and Double Bell. Surprisingly enough, we never expect this coming from this company itself. As well to that, we're going to be talking about is basically working our way from the features from the front end all the way to the back and a couple of the internals out there. But before we do, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you do like products like these, just check us out at airsoftmaster.com. So, let's not waste more time and actually get into this review. Now, what do we know about the Taran Tactical / Genesis Arms Dracarys Gen 12 shotgun? Well, if you remember from the scene in John Wick Chapter 4 when he had the overview head on top, which was a tribute to the Hotline Miami video game and also the John Wick video game in my perspective, it's an overhead shot where he was clearing the catacombs with a Dragon's Breath AR style shotgun. Mainly this one. And of course, what we do know about 6mm Proshop does, and when it comes to replicas, they do a very good job on attention to detail. Mainly the fact that we have is this guy, the Genesis Dracarys by Taran Tactical Innovations. Let's go ahead and start off what we know about the front end of the federally mandated orange tip is you do have is a 14mm counterclockwise threading underneath that. So if you want to put that big choke like the real one does have, I think it is possible out there. After the outer barrel, we're going to see out in the front is the very big and hefty key mod rail segment that we do see like we normally do on the Genesis 12. And you're still able to use like any other accessories such as the bottoms of all 45 offsets from the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock positions, your standard 3, 6, and 9 at the bottom, and 4 or 5 on the key mod rail segments to put any other accessories such as like the foregrips, flashlights, you name it, you can put it on there. And best part about it is you do have is a fully monolithic, all the rail segments of a state to put your attachments like your red dot out there, such as I do with the Atlas Customs, and what I did was the Atlas Customs replica torch that you'll see on the end of the rail. Again, a good amount of rail space and still be lightweight. But as for the size of the actual rail, it is a hefty big boy. We can basically say the same thing about its receiver, as it is a big chunk of metal. Again, a really good big chunk of metal. But the licensing trademarks on the Dracarys Gen 12 doesn't miss a step. I mean, starting off with, is you do have the Taran Tactical Innovations laser inscribed right here on the lower, and at the same time inscribed the Gen 12. Now that we flipped it on the other side, we still also get is the inscribed of the Gen 12 by Genesis Arms LLC, multi-caliber on the bottom, and this is where it scares me enough, serial number 0001. So I'm kind of afraid of using this thing, but again, kind of cool. As for the design of it, I do like how you do have his assisted magwell on here with the exaggerated enhanced trigger guard that is inscribed, or more like integrated into the lower receiver. Now for the AR controls, we do have is an ambidextrous selector going from safe to fire, and surprisingly enough, you still have a full auto switch on here, which we'll talk about the internals later on. As for that's also ambidextrous that's on here is your charging handle. So you do have it for both left-handed or right-handed operation, with unfortunately the magazine catch being on one side for right-handed operation, but again you can still be able to use it for left-handed operation by just manipulating with your reloaded hand. So it is still very familiar for you if you are familiar with the AR controls. Again, good job to 6mm Proshop by making everything really to the attention to detail out there, alongside even the big beefy part of the upper that is more monolithic to the rail. Now when it comes to the decisions of which one you want to get, they do come with two different types of options. The color mainly is you do have is the disruptive gray, like you've seen in John Wick Chapter 4, or in solid black. Another option that you do have is the MOSFET or standard type editions out there. So whether or not it goes on to what batteries you want to decide, such as the standard edition, I would always recommend using a 7.4 LiPo, as that would fit. And then you have the MOSFET version, you're able to use an 11.1 LiPo battery. So again, the decision goes from whatever you want to use. Speaking about the decisions of MOSFETs, let's go ahead and talk about the internals, which surprisingly is a version 2 gearbox by Double Bell. Again, you do have the options to pick whatever upgrades you do want to make out there from the Double Bell standard, as it is like a standard M4 out there. You do have the same standard controls as a different type of rotary style hop-up that is shown on here. You still have the same thing to use for your version 2 gearboxes, such as your piston, your actual piston head, even a MOSFET if you want to do that, such as maybe even a gate titan. Either way, you have a good amount of customization out there for such a very standard version 2 gearbox in this gun. Now let's talk about the stock. As you do have is a standard 6-positional collapsible stock that's out here, so you can change it to adjust to whatever length you need. And at the same time, it is a standard SOP mod style on there. No, unfortunately not. It's not like the one in the movies. But you do have this reason why is because you have enough space to put whatever batteries on here, such as basically putting your LiPo battery in the back end of the buffer tube. Not only we do see that the buffer tube is a standard M4, we do have is standard controls I will see out here, such as the standard Tamiya plugs, just in case if you need to put your LiPo battery, such as 7.4 or even your 11.1, depending what model you use. What's also nice is if you do want to change out your stock for more of a movie accurate, you can put a BCM stock on there. It's a little bit tricky as the gunfighter stocks do take a little bit of a tool to push in and push into the back end of the buffer tube, but it can be done. Now when it comes to talking about the internals, we talked about the stock, let's go ahead and talk about the hop-up. And surprisingly enough, we pull the charging handle and it reveals a standard version 2 rotary style hop-up that we have alongside with this Genesis Arms Gen 12. Now, the bad news is it is not a shotgun, but more of its normal AEG rifle. But the good news is meaning that it is a version 2 gearbox with a version 2 rotary style hop-up. We can complement it with making upgrades on it, such as another style rotary style hop-up like the Prometheus or even the Max hop-ups if wanted. And to complement it, it does have is a 285mm inner barrel. So if we want to make a tighter grouping, we can change everything out here to be more customizable and more upgraded to whatever we need for our tool sets. But again, 6mm Proshop allowing us to have a rotary style hop-up to help fine-tune the BBs to whatever weight we use is a big benefit for such a big replica that we do have. Now this leads to the talk about is the magazine compatibility for the Dracarys. Unfortunately, guys, we're stuck with is the proprietary Gen 12 shotgun style high cap magazines. Because of how wide the replica is, unfortunately we tried with any other high caps in there and it won't even catch on the magwell, as it is a hefty big boy. Now, I did try to feed it and try to mess around with it with other mid caps. Yes, it'll feed, but you got to hold on to it. What you do have is this massive 800 round high cap magazine, which, if you put it all together, it has a double-sided benefit where you hold 800 rounds, but also it makes a great stand. I'm using 0.20 gram BBs and 11.1 LiPo battery. When we saw the information on the double bell 6mm Proshop Dracarys, it said it was supposed to shoot around the 330 to 370 feet per second. This guy, no, It is shooting what we shot with 0.20 gram BBs, 425 feet per second, dialed in hop. So this thing's basically a DMR. And, well, if you do want to change it to be more CQB friendly or even field friendly, you can change it out with having an indoor spring by just swapping out by bringing it to your local tech as needed. When you do purchase your 6mm Proshop Genesis 12 rifle AEG, you do come with is the rifle and the 800 high capacity magazine. But you also do come with is your card of authenticity, as we've seen from EMG, and on the other side is the QR code to help get to their website. So if you need to find online instructions for either maintenance as where of use, you can see that through their website. Alongside, you do have is the Allen key to help remove the part of the screw inside that holds the body pin all together, which does come in handy when bringing the rifle apart and helping do either that typical maintenance or even upgrades if you need be to help disassemble your rifle. So in conclusion, as a true hardcore fan for John Wick, as you've seen from my reviews from the Pit Viper to the ultralight Taran Tactical AEG rifle that we've seen, the Genesis 12 does not skip that beat of having a truly nice replica out there for the shotgun or AEG as we have here, as it is the only release we do have of the Genesis 12 until we've seen the HPA version do come out, which is a very nice thing I would like to review. Shout out to EMG. But as of right now, during the time of this recording, for the MOSFET version, it's going for the price of $350. As for the standard one, we do expect to see with no MOSFET being at the $329. So it is a very good deal if you want a nice collectible like this, and for serial number 001 that's out here. So if you do want to purchase this rifle, again, check it out at airsoftmaster.com. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and comment. What do you guys think about the Gen 12 by 6mm Proshop and double bell? But for this episode, my name's Mike. I'll see you guys till next time.
This video is brought to you by Airsoft Master.